call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, gotta fill up.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. This is your host, Juggernaut097, and today I got a little different video to do for you guys. So, today I'm going to be doing a reaction video since Money in the Bank is this weekend. I'm going to be reacting to every WWE Money in the Bank winner ranked from worst to best. And this video is from What Culture, so you guys can go down in the description below, and you guys can go watch the original video if you want to. But I'm gonna be giving my thoughts on, if I agree with this list or if I don't agree with this list. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. So, yeah, this is gonna be fun. So, like I said, the video's in the description, and also you guys can go follow me on all my social media platforms. You guys can go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at TheTrueJSB. And you guys can also hit that subscribe button. That really helped me out quite a bit. Also, hit that like button, turn on the notification bell to be notified every time I make a new video. And if you guys like seeing these type of reactions, I might do more of these. So we'll see. But let's go waste the time and let's get started with this reaction video. So let's get right into it. Let's play that video.
It's that time of year again, my friends. When legends are made, heroes are born, and the women of WWE are given a depressing 10 minutes to enjoy their shiny new briefcase. So while we wait to see who earns the title of Mr. or Miss Money in the Bank at this year's London PLE, let's have a bit of fun ranking the prior 28 winners from worst to best. Because I am Gareth here from What Culture Wrestling, and here is every WWE Money in the Bank winner ranked worst to best. Number 28, Otis. Time with the contract, 168
Yeah, I agree with how this
days.
is the worst.
Count the terrible things attached to Otis's cursed time as Mr. Money in the Bank.
Hold on. Okay, so let me pause this for now. Otis should have never have won the Money in the Bank back in 2020. It should have been AJ Styles, and the Money in the Bank from 2020, it was cool and all, but yeah, Otis should have never won it, and he didn't do anything with the briefcase at all because they ended up giving it to the Miz. But yeah, I agree with this. Otis is the worst right here.
2020 cinematic Money in the Bank variant was a risible and artless failure, much like Otis's run itself when the creative team just lost all interest in it. And rest in peace to old Heavy Machinery too. They are gone, but not forgotten. After several months of barely any teasing or direction whatsoever, the future Alpha Academy man lost his best friend and his briefcase in a match with The Miz, and has been nowhere near singles glory ever since. Number 27, Mr. Kennedy. Time with the contract, 36 days. Dumb luck and a dumb company conspired against a Mr. Kennedy, who had said that he was going to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase a whole year down the line.
Yep, I remember him saying that.
After winning it at WrestleMania 23. Smartly thinking of the why as well as...
And, it's really unfortunate for Mr. Kennedy because he got injured. Like, I don't remember exactly how he got injured, but yeah, he got injured, so it's not exactly all his fault. But yeah, he ended up losing. And I think, they gave it to Edge or something, I believe, and then Edge cashed in on Undertaker.
The how and when Mr. Kennedy wanted the grandest stage of them all to be the site. But the whole thing kind of fell to pieces after Mr. Kennedy had a triceps injury, which was then misdiagnosed as a tear. 24 hours after the case was hot-shotted onto Edge so he could go and cash it in on The Undertaker and walk away with the big gold belt, Kennedy was told by a doctor that the 9 months he was supposed to be out on the shelf was going to be more like 5 or 6 weeks. What a heartbreaker. Number 26, Austin Theory.
Man, that gotta suck, to only be out to 5 to 6 weeks, and then you have to relinquish your briefcase. Yeah, that's just terrible. Oh God, Austin Theory.
Time with the contract, 129 days. A test from Triple H of exactly how much of a loser you can make somebody before then building them back up and then trying to frame them as the biggest success story of the year. Austin Theory getting humiliated over and over and over again was pretty much the theme of summer 2022. In fact, things got so bad that he stooped to a level nobody had gone to before, that being cashing in his
Also, I hated when they just added him into the Money in the Bank match last year. That was just so terrible. It's like we were expecting, like when Adam Pearce came out, like, oh, maybe they're going to add Cody Rhodes, like he's going to win with, a torn tricep. But no, they ended up going with Austin Theory because, that was Vince's guy. But, then, Triple H took over and they kind of halted that with Vince. I mean, they kind of halted that with Austin Theory. And they made him look very weak when he, yeah.
his valuable briefcase that he could cash in on a world championship of his choosing at any point on a mid-card
Yeah,
belt.
he cashed in on a mid-card
he
belt.
failed that cash in too.
Yeah.
Half a year, an eventual US title win and a win over John Cena later, and the jury is still out on whether this breaking down, building up story has been a success or not. Number 25, Baron Corbin. Time with
Oh,
the
God.
contract, 58 days. In one of those situations where the lone wolf had become an inconvenience to Vince McMahon's beleaguered creative team rather than a problem to solve, WWE just sent him out there in 2017 to get distracted by John Cena and then rolled up
By
by
the
WWE
John Cena,
champion Jinder
and
Mahal,
he's never been
and
the
yes,
same.
this guy failed again. Corbin was supposed to be so angered by this John Cena interference that he would not be able to contain himself when the two battled at SummerSlam not too further down the line.
Mhm.
Number 24, Braun Strowman. Time with the contract, 70 days. A babyface who was also a bully in his feud with Kevin Owens at the time, Braun Strowman still came away popular enough to be perceived as the guy when it came to cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase against the then new Universal Champion Roman Reigns after he just won the belt against Brock Lesnar the night before. Unfortunately for Strowman, though, the even more popular Shield brothers gathered around Mr. Roman Reigns to make that match go to a no contest. This then forced a rather awkward heel turn and a second attempt to cash in that briefcase at Hell in a Cell, and we all know how that ended. In the definitive feud ender, the match went to another no contest. Yay. Number 23,
Yeah,
Damien
I
Sandow.
hated all those no contests that they were doing with that. It's like they were still trying to protect Roman and all that. It's like it was just so garbage. It was terrible. I agree. It was bad. Oh, Damien Sandow.
Time with the contract, 106 days. Now Damien Sandow's
He
customized Money in the
had
Bank
so much
briefcase was
potential, but they had so much potential with Damien Sandow, but they just really fumbled the ball with him and like that feud. I thought he was going to have a good feud with Cody Rhodes and stuff, after they broke apart. But yeah, they just really fumbled the ball with Damien Sandow.
pretty cool, let's be honest. But as the man who benefited from Vince McMahon having a change of heart when it comes to Cody Rhodes for the second year in a row, he was never really thought of as a viable champion down the line.
He
so
really
after
wasn't.
Sandow and Rhodes feuded over the case for a while in the aftermath, the intellectual savior of the masses was proven to be a fraud when he was goaded into a match with the fresh-ish John Cena not too long after that feud. And on a random October 2013 edition of Monday Night Raw, he became the second ever person to fail to cash in said briefcase. And who was the first? Number 22, John Cena. Time with the contract, 8 days. The last up.
I'm really surprised Cena was the first one to cash, to fail to cash in the briefcase. I'm really surprised, but it was that time. It was that time when CM Punk, he was on his hot run, and they didn't want to have Punk drop the title, so they had Big Show come, run interference on the 1000 Raw, and also when John Cena won this Money in the Bank match. Like when he broke the handle off of that Money in the Bank, that was such an hilarious spot. It was like that wasn't supposed to happen, but it made for better TV. Like when he broke the handle off. But yeah, he was. I'm surprised. Yeah, he's the first ever one to fail to cash in the briefcase.
Losers, but at least an honorable one. John Cena's Money in the Bank victory felt about as wacky as the memes that were all born in the wake of him winning and pulling all those weird faces. Typical of the champ, he gave Mr. CM Punk a week's notice before cashing in, but their Raw 1000 encounter did not get a finish as this was right in the middle of John Cena's bad year arc, and the chip magnet then pivoted towards being a heel as he set himself up with a feud with Mr. Great One himself, The Rock. Number 21, Alberto Del Rio. Time of the contract,
And
28 days.
Speaking of The Rock and CM Punk feud, I hated when because I agree with Punk. I hated that they brought a part timer to come back, and then for after Punk's having this great run, this amazing run, 434 days, he loses the title at Mania, and like. Yeah, it's just really unfortunate for Punk. So I definitely agree with that. Like he should have never lost the title to The Rock, in my opinion. because The Rock, he's a big enough draw without the title. But yeah, Alberto Del Rio is the next one.
CM Punk unwittingly celebrated an ill-gotten gain. Kevin Nash texted himself to stick the winner. The summer of Punk revealed itself to be a complete and total fraud, and Alberto Del Rio turned out to be the beneficiary, never feeling like anything other than a spare part amongst everybody else at the top of the card at the time. He kept the title warm until CM Punk was done playing weird political war games with the game over the summer and was ready to take back his baby. Number 20, Sheamus. Time with the contract, 161 days. After Seth Rollins was injured in October 2015, the road ahead looked...
Yeah, it was really unfortunate when Rollins got injured. And then, yeah, they gave it to Roman at SummerSlam because they had to do that tournament at not SummerSlam, Survivor Series. They did that tournament at Survivor Series, and then Sheamus ends up cashing in there.
Looked clear for the big dog, a woof woof. But WWE saw a hotshot run in a WrestleMania main event as the real move. In stepped Sheamus, who broke Roman Reigns' heart post-Survivor Series tournament with a cash-in, and inadvertently caused the top babyface at the time to become little more than a confetti-strewn meme. And do you fondly remember anything about Sheamus' run with the belt after that? No, you don't, because nobody remembers anything about it.
I don't remember anything about it.
Number 19, Nikki Ash. Time with the contract, 1 day. Won the case and cashed it in within 24 hours like pretty much every other woman on this list apart from Carmella. And was bang out of luck again, 33.
I hope they change that this year. I hope, they're basically going to change this because I don't think I think the briefcase is going to last longer than 48 hours. It's going to be longer than 24 to 48 hours. Because I don't see Rhea Ripley losing the title anytime soon. I don't see anybody cashing in like on Asuka or Charlotte or Bianca. So, because that would just be a messy situation to get involved with. So, yeah, I hope that streak ends like with being cashed in from 24 to 48 hours, because that just needs to stop. And yeah, that this doesn't look good. And I heard that the women's briefcase is supposed to be failed to be cashed in this year. So, I mean, I guess we'll just see though.
3 days later. Furthermore, Charlotte Flair, the woman she cashed the damn thing in on, was the one to ultimately win it back. Nikki Ash gamed the system with her superhero character change, before remembering that to the system itself, her career was the game. Number 18, Jack Swagger. Time with the contract, 5 days. Jack Swagger's Money in the Bank cash-in is probably the greatest of all time if your name is Jake Hager. Because when you look back at it, it kind of brought him closer to Chris Jericho. Jack Swagger had barely just finished unhooking the briefcase at WrestleMania 26 before that next week's edition of SmackDown had started, and Chris Jericho, who was rather injured at the time, was easy prey. Winning, of course, cursed his earnestly dumb character. He was asked to play everything incredibly seriously, and he couldn't quite pull it off at the time. But the powerful mate that he made at the time ensured that he'd stay employed a decade later, so that's a win in my book. Number 17, Liv Morgan. Time with the contract, 2 hours. Yet another case of trying to take advantage of the heat at its theoretical peak and justifying stamping an L on Ronda Rousey's head. Liv Morgan's cash-in generated a monster pop on the night and felt like a just reward, really, for a performer who managed to organically build up a bit of momentum heading into the event.
She really did.
The case time and time again, though, little thought was really given as to what to do once she'd, won the thing. The cash-in tarred her with a paper champion brush, and listless booking in rematches with the baddest woman on the planet didn't really help the cause either. Number 16.
Yeah, no, it didn't. Like, those matches that she had with Ronda Rousey last year were terrible. Like, that match against, I think it was at Extreme Rules. Like, Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan, they did not have good chemistry at all with each other. Like, it was not that good. But, yeah.
Alexa Bliss. Time of the contract, 172 minutes. Another cash-in on a battle-worn Ronda Rousey, technically. Alexa Bliss's mid-match attack on the baddest woman on the planet, and then Raw Women's Champion Nia Jax, played up to her heel smarts. Bliss had already lost to Jax, and she was openly rather scared about having to clash with Ronda Rousey, too. So she decked them both with a briefcase and won the match. Woohoo! Go Bliss! A payoff to Rousey Jax, this also set the stage for another rivalry for Rousey coming out of the event. Bliss This was then royally squashed by Rousey at SummerSlam in a convincingly one-sided battle.
Yeah,
Number
people
15,
are kind of,
Bayley. Time of the contract, 85 minutes.
Alexa
A
Bliss's
tumultuous
cash-in.
behind-the-scenes spell for the Hugger came to an end in grand fashion at 2019's Money in the Bank. In a true bit of fan service, Becky Lynch had already lost one of her Becky 2 belts to Charlotte Flair on that very same night. But Bayley's victory in the opener freed up a cash-in for later on in the event. The Queen thus wasn't permitted to get back on her throne, and the start of 2 lengthy spells atop the Blue
You know, I just realized that Charlotte's been cashing a lot on a lot of the Money in the Bank winners. I think most of the time she's been cashing on. If someone wants to go down in the comments below, tell me. But I'm pretty sure most of the time she's been cashing on.
Martin for the role model began in earnest. Number 14, Daniel Bryan. Time with the contract, 154 days. Just about every single dollar that Daniel Bryan has ever made, he himself earned, no matter what WWE tell you. Naturally, that extends to his Money in the Bank cash-in too, which begat the heel turn that revitalized his character in general, and the catchphrase that defined his inexorable return to the babyface ranks. After defying the odds with victory in 2011, Bryan initially opted to do a Kennedy and say that he was going to wait all the way until WrestleMania to cash in his briefcase. Going back on said promise at December's TLC pay-per-view was step 1 on the road to changing allegiances. Lifting the self-aggrandizing yes gesture from Diego Sanchez was step 2. The galvanizing response to his 18-second loss at WrestleMania was shaped around this moment. Initially sublime as a ratty villain, he was already too fun to hate at this point. Number 13, Randy Orton. Time with the contract, 35 days. Randy Orton's Money in the Bank win was much like his cash-in itself. It was all pretty much overshadowed by somebody else's story. In 2013's titular main event, his victory was overshadowed by Paul Heyman's vicious and violent heel turn on CM Punk. At SummerSlam, when he cashed in on Daniel Bryan and revealed a new heel alliance with Triple H, the crowd were deep in love with D. Bryan, were not fans of the new wave of adversity.
Yeah, people were very upset when Randy Orton cashed in on Daniel Bryan because, you know, Daniel Bryan got that huge, amazing moment and this to get snatched away. But then, you know, that would have made for that amazing moment for Daniel Bryan, you know, that hero's arc to get the title back at WrestleMania the following year at WrestleMania 30. And, you know, the yes movement just kept on growing and growing. So, I mean, this was I was actually a fan of this cash-in. I put this in my top 5. So, yeah.
Had to overcome now he'd just beaten John Bloody Cena. The Viper, as he did time and time again over the years, was just pretty much serving a purpose here. Hell of a moment though. Number 12, Dean Ambrose. Time with the contract, 57 minutes. Picking his spot an hour after claiming the contract in the titular ladder match, the Lunatic Fringe barely gave his...
This was an historical moment when Dean Ambrose cashed in because this was from Money in the Bank 2016. So we have Roman coming in as a champion. And then Seth Rollins winning the title, and then Dean Ambrose coming out and cashing in on Seth Rollins. So all 3 show members held the title in one night. I mean, that's pretty historic right there. I really like that. So that's pretty cool there.
Former brother Seth Rollins anytime at all to celebrate his second ever WWE Championship win before he himself was ending it. The cash-in itself allowed for a great piece of lore when it comes to the Hounds of Justice. By the end of Money in the Bank 2016, all 3 men had been WWE Championship at one point or another.
Exactly.
That is pretty damn impressive. Number 11, Asuka. Time with the contract, 1 day. 2020 was rarely not terrible, wasn't it? WWE talents were in a pretty unenviable position. Asuka, though, was one of the rule-proving exceptions throughout, and was rewarded with more than just a briefcase win. After climbing the corporate ladder and claiming what she thought was a chance to cash in at any other point she fancied, it was revealed on Raw that she, in fact, was the new champion because Becky Lynch was about to go off and have a baby. The Empress of Tomorrow herself was kept in the dark before the actual reveal happened on the night, resulting in one of the few bright lights in an otherwise pitch black period. Number 10, Big E. Time with the contract, 57 days. People were thrilled to see Big E win the contract back in 2021 and all that promised, but the cash-in itself has become more about surprise moments for scheming heels and uncharacteristically opportunistic babyfaces. And the New Day man didn't really fit either of those profiles, did he? WWE worked around it to a certain extent, but they needn't have really worried, really. Big E tweeted that he would be cashing in just hours before Monday Night Raw went ahead that night, then picked his spot after an injured Bobby Lashley who's just defended his WWE Championship to become the new WWE champ. Far from squeaky clean, but the audience received it as such anyway because we love this man. Number 9, Kane. Time with the
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Big E cash in. Like, he really deserved the title at that point, and I was happy for him. So I agree with that one right there.
contract, 49 minutes. Ranked this high because he was the first person to really take advantage of a very obvious opportunity, not because it was the most gratifying. Kane's obliteration of a beaten down Rey Mysterio at the inaugural Money in the Bank pay-per-view in 2010 was fine. It was a fine twist. It shocked us all. Yay, big scary red monster. This strategy worked a treat for him and WWE whenever they needed just a cheap, easy pop on the night, and was thus stolen by several of the aforementioned winners. Number 8, Rob Van Dam. Time with the contract, 70 days.
Oh, this one's a good cash, and I really enjoyed this. And at One Night Stand 06, Cena going into that hostile environment. Oh my god, dude! Like, Cena got booed so much, throwing toilet paper at him. Like, this is an historic cash in. This is one of my favorites.
First winner to call his shot, Rob Van Dam had a very different way of doing things than Edge when he procured his golden ticket at WrestleMania 22. Spying ECW's One Night Stand and incoming relaunch on the horizon, RVD boldly inserted himself as a headliner for both when he called out John Cena for the big old show. And what do you know, Van Dam was rewarded for his guile. The clash was a minor classic, and RVD became the first ever WWE/ECW World Heavyweight Champion. Number 7, Brock Lesnar. Time with the contract, 56 days. You know what time?
They should have never gave Lesnar that contract. Like, he wasn't even promoted for the show, and he showed up. I was not a fan of him winning the briefcase because he is a big enough star that you don't need a briefcase on him, and he can just go challenge for a WWE championship. They should have gave it to someone rising up.
It is. It's Brock party time, baby.
But I did enjoy him doing all that partying.
Oh, the Beast was just having a great time, wasn't he, when he won this thing back in 2018 and
He has a
completely
boombox.
surprised everybody on the night, in the arena, and in the match itself. And then what did he do when he came out on Raw? He turned the briefcase into a boombox. He started dancing in front of Kofi Kingston, Seth Rollins, and made a mockery out of it. But we loved it. It was hilarious. It was stupid. It was great. Brock had his eyes on Seth Rollins, and by that point, Rollins was in need of a bit of a change because his first run with that belt had gone a bit flat. And losing his belt and then winning it back against Brock Lesnar in the months to come actually did him a world of good, and Seth Rollins became this babyface character that was adored for years to come, and he definitely did not wrestle a demon clown inside of a red cage, and people booed him, and it was horrendous, and I still have nightmares while we're talking about
was a terrible
Brock
match.
Party. Oh yeah, a Brock Party. Brock Party. Number 6, The Miz. Time with the contract, 127 days, and time with the contract 2, 119 days. One only need to tune into one episode of Monday Night Raw to hear of all the achievements Mr. Miz has amassed over his absolutely ridiculous 15-plus year tenure with WWE. But both of his Money in the Bank wins were actually uniquely successful for the A-lister. His 2010-2011 WWE Championship run may have fizzled because he was like the third wheel in the John Cena Rock thing that was going on, but he was absolutely considered a heel worth gambling on when he first dethroned Randy Orton before that. A decade later, he'd graduated to the level of safe pair of hands and took the case from Otis to serve as a charmingly pathetic transitional champion between Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley.
I was happy that The Miz took the title. Took the briefcase off of Otis because Otis did not. Otis was one of the worst Money Bank winners. Like, I agree with him being the worst because that was just so worthless. But I'm happy The Miz took it off of Otis. And he was actually, pretty decent champion because The Miz, he knew his role. He knew what he needed to do.
On the road to WrestleMania 37. Number 5, Carmella. Time of the contract, 287 days. The only...
I hated this. I hated the winner, how Carmella won the match. Had James Ellsworth going up there, grabbing the briefcase for her, and just dropping it down. Like, that just left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. Like, because that's the first ever women's Money in the Money Bank match, and you're gonna have a man, grab the briefcase. That just doesn't sit right with a lot of people.
female winner as of recording to hold this briefcase for longer than 24 hours. Carmella also holds the honor of being the person to wait the absolute longest before cashing in. After snaring the prize twice thanks to the first ever Women's Money in the Bank ladder match being hijacked by James Ellsworth, the Princess of Static
Terrible.
Island targeted a certain queen. No, not that one, but that would have been very, very interesting. After waiting the better part of a year for her moment, she seized the opportunity to beat Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship after she'd just been attacked by the debuting Iconics. Ah, what a time to be alive. Number 4, Dolph Ziggler. Time with the contract,
This is one of my favorite
267
cash-ins of all
days.
time.
Immediately going down as one of the loudest
Also, that was one of the loudest pops I ever heard, and I think he's about to say that right here. But yeah, that's one of the loudest pops I ever heard for a cash in. And like Dolph Ziggler, he had so much stuff going for him, and you know it was unfortunate that he got injured. It was unfortunate that he got injured, you know, because I mean it really wasn't his fault. You know, he had some concussions, and then WWE just never really trusted him since. You know, withholding a world title, which, like I said, is so unfortunate because he could have been world champion so many times over and over again. But they just dropped the ball with him because he had a few injuries.
in WWE history. The show-off's big moment turned out to be a career high rather than the start of a greater ascension on the Raw after WrestleMania 29. He'd lost the World Heavyweight Championship, never to regain it again within 2 months. But there weren't too many spots from the 2010s to stand proud as WWE moments quite as effectively as this one. Number 3, Seth Rollins, time with the contract, 273.
I'm surprised they got this at number 3. What? No, this one. This has to be number 1. I don't agree with it being number 3. This one's number 1 because this was the first time the Money in the Bank briefcase has ever been cashed in at WrestleMania. And yes, I'm kind of being biased a little bit here, you know, because I am a big Seth Rollins mark. Man, yeah, it should have been number 1 because, like I said, the first time and like the only time it's ever been cashed in at WrestleMania.
3 days. Having broken up the Shield just under a year earlier, Seth Rollins then went and broke Roman Reigns' heart in his big dog clash with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31.
Yeah, they really had to book
WWE had
themselves out of the
waited
corner.
nearly a decade to pull off this particular stunt was rather impressive. And in the end, the Architect's heist of the century was more than worth the wait. Number 2, CM Punk. Time with the contract, 92 days. Time with the contract number 2, 63 days. The second man to win the Money in the Bank briefcase not once, but twice. CM Punk's glittering history with WWE's Golden Ticket produced 2 incredible cash-ins, even if the first one was something of a false dawn, claiming Edge's World Heavyweight
I loved his second cash in a lot better than his first, but like his second cash in when he cashed on Jeff Hardy, because Jeff Hardy was like so popular, you know, he got that world title back. And then, you know, Punk did that whole heel turn, like, because who was it? Michael Hayes didn't believe that he could be a heel, and Vince didn't believe that he could be a heel. And then I remember watching that CM Punk documentary. Punk going like, "I'll be the biggest heel you ever seen. I'll be the most hated heel you ever seen." And then I remember him go like, "Vince, what's the?" He goes like, "Vince, what's the challenge?" And yeah, and he was a great heel. I mean, you know, they made that Straight Society, which that kind of fell flat a little bit, but I mean, the promos that he was cutting, you know, felt like some of the promos he was cutting in Ring of Honor, just a little more PG. But yeah, Punk's heel work back in 09 was amazing.
Championship as that guy threatened to take it to SmackDown, even though it was a Raw belt at the time. Punk was sadly unable to ascend to main events proper as a babyface fighting champion. It'd all be different when he repeated the trick a year later, though. After cashing in on Jeff Hardy following an extremely brutal Extreme Rules match with that man again, Edge, Mr. Punk liked the smell of his fart a bit too much, didn't he? It fed a heel turn that was crucial to the character's growth at the time, and a program that confirmed both men as bona fide draws of the time. Number 1, Edge, time with the contract, 280 days. Time with the contract number 2, 4 days. Tanking his own Intercontinental Championship match with Ric Flair earlier in the night at New Year's Revolution 2006, Edge intelligently kept himself fresh and waited to see who would be the victor in the night's main event Elimination Chamber match. John Cena was, of course, that winner, but blood.
And this is when Edge became known as the ultimate opportunist, when he cashed in that briefcase on the vulnerable John Cena at New Year's Revolution. This is, I mean, I'm okay with him saying that this is the best Money in the Bank cash in. I'm okay with him saying that. You can interchange a lot, a few of these and stuff. But in my personal opinion, I would definitely put number one with Seth Rollins cashing in. Like I said, being at WrestleMania, but I'm gonna let him finish on what he has to say.
And battered, he was easy pickings for the Reddit superstar. And a year later, he was back on his BS, wasn't he? Defeating an injured Mr. Kennedy for his briefcase on the 7th of May edition of Monday Night Raw. He took the contract to the very next SmackDown and then cashed it in on an Undertaker who'd just been through a war with Batista inside of a steel cage and then been decimated by Mark Henry himself. Nobody did it better than the ultimate opportunist, and maybe nobody ever will. And that has been our list. Do you agree with our Money in the Bank winner rankings? Probably not, so let me know what yours are in the comment section right down below. I've been Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Thank you for watching this particular video today. Now go and like, share, subscribe to all things What Culture Wrestling.
Nope.
Where the fans simply...
Oh, sorry. Okay, so that was my reaction to the best Money in the every Money in the Bank, every WWE Money in the Bank winner ranked from worst to best. I mean, I agree with most of the list. I mean, there was a few cash-ins where like, yeah, they could have been interchanged. Like I said, that Seth Rollins cash-in should have been number one, but that's just my personal opinion. Like I said, everybody has their own personal opinions when it comes to wrestling, and it's fine. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoy doing this. I'm going to be doing more of these reactions on my channel. So if you guys have any reactions you want to see, go down in the comment section below and let me know, because I am down to do a lot of these reactions here. But if this is your first time ever checking out my channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, turn on that notification bell to be notified every time I make a new video, and also hit the like button to help out my videos in the algorithm, so people can notice my videos more. And also, don't forget to share the video. And also, I mean, hey, you want to put your best, your best cash-ins also. But yeah, Money Bank, like I said, is this Saturday? I'm excited for it. Saturday afternoon, and across the pond in the UK. It's gonna be fun. Yeah. So yeah, let me know what reactions you guys want to see. I mean, this video is pretty long, but hey, I wanted to do reaction to this since it's Money in the Bank season. But this is your boy Juggernaut saying peace out, and I will catch you guys later. So, peace.